Hello and welcome to my channel. Is that what you say when you start on YouTube? I don't really know because this is the first hair in my mouth. This is the first YouTube video I have ever filmed. And I'm super excited. So I am Chelsea. I'm a wellness coach for women with ADHD. And although 99.9% of my life is pretty much a hot mess, I have got my wellness habits kind of figured out, right? So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I meal plan and prep as an ADHDer. I'm just going to share with you from start to finish my system. And you know, I used to be so intimidated by cooking, by planning meals. The whole thing just freaked me out. And I remember I was kind of reminded of how difficult it was for me when last night I was starting to look at DIY projects at like 2 a.m, of course, was looking at Pinterest, you know, whatever. And I found one that was making a coffee table and I was super excited about it, but I watched the video and I was just so intimidated. Like there was all these things. I have no idea what they are. Like, where do I get a miter saw? Where do I get this kind of stain? Like, I don't know where any of these things are. I've never done any of this stuff. I don't know if I have all the materials. Is it going to be expensive, right? And I had this flashback of me feeling that way about cooking and creating meals. It's intimidating in the beginning. It really, really is. So I just wanted to share with you my process and how I've gotten this kind of streamlined to make it pretty simple, or at least simple for me, and some like tools and tips and tricks along the way that might help you to make meal planning and prepping a little bit easier for yourself. So first things first, I decide how many meals we're gonna be cooking this week. So we do groceries typically on like Monday or something, and we just moved to this house that is incredible, but we have no Uber Eats, we have nothing delivers nearby. The closest grocery store 20 minutes away. So we're gonna need to do more cooking and have some backup plans available to us, right? So we're gonna probably plan to cook 6 meals in this upcoming week, and those will all be dinners, and we'll make enough for leftovers for lunch the next day. Now, I myself am not going to cook 6 meals. Heck no, am I cooking 6 meals in a week. So what I do is I split the duties with my husband. So he picks 3 meals and then is in charge of selecting 3 meals for the week, and I'm in charge of selecting 3 meals for the week. And we kind of chatted over what we're thinking about ahead of time, so that we don't overlap a whole lot, but if we do, it's just not a big deal, right? And the only requirement of our meal is that it has to have, that the meals that we plan, is that it has to have protein, it has to have some kind of carb, has to have some kind of vegetable, and some kind of healthy fat, or any kind of fat, right? I love cheese. Personally, 99.9% of our meals have cheese in some way, shape, or form. Just me? I don't know. Anyways, so the first step is selecting what meals I'm going to cook, right? So this is the part that used to take a really long time. I would get hyper-focused on selecting the perfect meal. It would take so long. There's so many different resources, right? There's Pinterest, there's Google. I saw things on Instagram, I saw things on TikTok, etc., etc. So how I do this is I know, okay, I'm picking 3 dinners for the week, right? 3 dinners, that's it. Those are gonna be lunches for the next day as well. When it comes to breakfast, usually I can like scrounge and find things in my house, but if not, then I'll plan my 3 meals plus a breakfast, okay? But right now we have stuff in our house for like ham sandwiches and like little baby carrots and stuff, so I'm just gonna eat that for breakfast. That'll be perfectly fine. So I'm gonna pick my 3 meals. Now how I'm gonna do this without spending hours and hours is I'm going to set a Pomodoro timer. If you've never used a Pomodoro timer, it's 25 minutes of working and a 5-minute break. I'm just gonna set one Pomodoro timer for 25 minutes, and I'm gonna go over a couple resources that I've been kind of saving things to throughout the week and just pick 3. And I'm not gonna perfectionist this. I'm just gonna find 3 that look delicious. That's a really important thing. You wanna make sure they look yummy to you right now. If you're expecting your future self to eat some like nasty ass broccoli and kale bullshit that you don't wanna eat now, future you's not gonna wanna eat it either. And I'm not saying broccoli and kale are gross. I love broccoli and kale. But what I'm saying is pick things that sound good to you now versus assuming that your future self is gonna be like a bunny rabbit that only wants to eat celery and carrots. Because I know my future self, and I know she probably wants pasta and bread. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna set a timer and I'm gonna pick my 3 meals. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write them, I'm gonna type them into Notion, which is what I use for all of my planning needs. I'll be back. Okay, I just finished planning my meals for the week, so I'm gonna share with you what I am making. Can you see me? My face okay? Okay, anyways, so this week I decided on 3 different meals. So I'm making a pot roast. I thought I heard somebody coming. Hello? Do you hear that? I'm so weird. Okay, I'm making a pot roast with potatoes and carrots and celery because I have some carrots and potatoes that are about to go bad. So I'm trying to find a way to save those, and pot roast is like my absolute favorite food. It's so freaking good. And then I'm going to make a turkey sausage and spinach quiche and serve that with a beet salad. I love beets. Haven't eaten them in way too long. They seem like really good food, like for winter. I don't know. And also the turkey sausage. I thought the turkey sausage quiche I thought will be good because that's something that I could eat for breakfast or for lunch, right? It's kind of a breakfast food, which I'm not so much a person that like eats breakfast food at breakfast time. I don't know. I kind of eat food whenever I feel like it. So that's the second meal I'm making. And then the third meal is Bang Bang salmon. So if you've had the Bang Bang shrimp from I keep saying boneless, Bonefish Grill, this is basically that, but with salmon instead of shrimp. So I'm gonna make that with some coconut rice and an edamame crunch salad. So it was super easy for me to comb through the recipes that I already have in my Notion and then comb through some of my TikToks that I have saved throughout the week and my Pinterest, some things that I've saved recently. So that's kind of how I do it, and setting that timer sets like a limit for myself. So again, I don't spend just like a ridiculous amount of time looking for recipes because this doesn't have to take forever, right? So once I found my recipes, then I input them into Notion and I continue creating this big database of recipes that I have made before, right? Another thing I want to note too is if you are new to cooking, a great place to find recipes is TikTok or Instagram Reels, or even on Pinterest, they're doing the same kind of video format. Because for me, if I'm intimidated by a recipe, if I watch someone do a 1-minute video on it and I can see what they mean versus like taking forever to read it, I can really understand how to make it so much more. And it just seems so much more approachable. So if that's where you're starting, go to the hashtag on TikTok, like easy recipes. And there are so many that you can find that will just make it less intimidating. That's a really good starting point. Okay, let's input these into Notion. So I'm literally recording my screen as a Zoom because that's something that will majorly stop me from continuing this video, and I'm trying not to be perfectionist. So we're just doing it. I'm just doing it this way. Okay, so this is my Notion. It's kind of a hot mess, but so I created this recipes database basically, and I kept it super, super simple. It just categorizes, I can categorize it into dinner. I can click if it's easy or if it's something specifically for entertaining or something like that. And I categorize it by dinner, breakfast, lunch, appetizers, sides, etc. And when I see a recipe I like, I just add it to this database. So as the database keeps building, I don't feel like I always have to go out and find brand new recipes. Now, a lot of times I do go out and find new recipes because I just really love doing that. But I'm going to show you, I can actually put the link in for how, for like a template for this, if you guys want to use this yourself. But I'm going to show you how I input some of the recipes. And as you can see, like, you see the name of the recipe here. If you click this, it'll bring you straight to the link. So for me, it's just the easiest way. And as you can see, there's lots of TikToks because I love the video format. All right, so I'm going to input I'm gonna input some of the new recipes that I have. So I got a new pot roast recipe. I added pot roast, and now I'm going to copy the link in there. And I'm going to select that it is a dinner. And the funny thing is, I already actually think I have a pot roast in there. I do. There it is. That's okay. We've got two. It's chaotic. I have ADHD, whatever. But when you click that, it brings you straight to the link. Super simple pot roast. So I already have that saved. So I added that. I'm going to add the couple other recipes just like that. So the turkey spinach quiche, I think I already have in here. I have crustless quiche with turkey sausage and spinach. I'm going to add the bang bang salmon, the beet salad, and the edamame crunch. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. So now that I have added those into my Notion and they're in my recipe section, I'm going to type my meals here where this is my main dashboard for January. So this is where I'm going to be looking every week, every day. So I tend to forget what things I wanted to put into certain recipes. This helps me not forget, like, why did I buy beets? Why did I buy green onions? Whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first make this like a bullet point. So where is it? Bulleted list. And I'm going to, if you click at, you can pull up any page on your Notion. So I have a link to this pot roast here. So I can say pot roast with potatoes, carrots, and celery. So all I did was type at, and it pulled up the page. So now it's going to bring me to that page that I created that brings me directly to the link. So that is that. And I'm just going to type in all of the recipes that I planned for the week so that I don't forget them. So I'm going to take a minute and do that. Now I have added in my recipes that I'm cooking this week. As you can see, I couldn't link all the things. I don't know why, but again, I'm not going to take the time to figure it out because I have ADHD and I'm like not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to move on with my life. And I know that these are linked if I go to my recipe page, so I will be able to find them easily. But usually I like to have the link here just so when I'm going to cook it, I can just click right there and have the page right there. So, but anyways, now I'm going to show you how I make my grocery list. So this is kind of simple, but it's helped me a lot. To make my grocery list, first I take a piece of paper and I divide it in 4s, and I set it up the same way the grocery store is set up. So I have produce, I have the deli and dairy, which is like the outsides, I have the aisles, and then I usually don't need very much frozen or very much like non-food items, but I have a space for those too. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on each recipe, and I'm going to go through and add in my ingredients that I need for each recipe. Let's do it. Okay guys, so here you have my final grocery list. What I do is I put a star by the things that I need to check and see if I already have them. I might have this stuff, you know? And at the store, I just fold it up, and that way I'm only looking at one small section at a time versus what I used to do was like I would write the whole list out and then I would forget something in the produce section, like miss it in that giant list, have to go back to the produce section, you know? So as I go through things, I just flip it and finish one section and move on to the next. So yeah, that's my grocery list. I'm gonna get ready and go to the store. For for my ADHD brain, the more places something is written, the better. So I take my recipes from Notion and I put them onto our calendar. This way we can have a solid idea of who's cooking what throughout the week. And of course this changes, but I'll write down the details of the recipe so I don't forget. Hey guys, okay, so it is actually the next day. We went to the grocery store last night and I made dinner. Now, something I forgot to mention is typically what I do and what we do is like, have you ever done the thing where you end up going to the grocery store and then by the time you get home, you've like done all the things, you've planned your meals, yada yada, and then you don't feel like freaking cooking, right? That's usually what happens. So I would typically say a thing to add in is like a grab and go meal. So whether that's a rotisserie chicken, a frozen pizza, or something like that, add that to your grocery list so that you can get home and like just be able to chill, be able to pat yourself on the back, be like, I did a good job, you know? So that is actually not what I did last night though. I had the energy to cook, so I made one of my meals last night. So I'm about to prep some of the stuff for my other two meals, and I'm gonna show you kind of how I prep. I don't meal prep, I just prep some items so that when it's time to cook, like all the vegetables are chopped up. Typically if there would be like garlic to mince, which most of the time I buy minced garlic, but like sometimes I'm feeling fancy and I wanna mince it myself. If there's like rice to cook or something like that that would stay good in the fridge for a little bit, I will do that now, and I'll spend like an hour and just prep what I can to make it easier on myself throughout the week. I'm gonna make it a little bit fun. I'm gonna put on a YouTube video and just watch a YouTube video. I've got a little candle burning here. I'll put that there so you can see. And yeah, I'm just gonna make it super fun. Something else I wanted to say to you is like, the way me and my husband do it is we split this stuff up and he has full responsibility of his 3 meals. I make it sound like he's a child, right? But like a lot of us women feel like we have to be the ones to cook everything and do all those domestic duties. And I used to feel that way, especially because I work from home, right? I'm like, well, I'm home, so it's easier for me to do it. No, no, especially if you have ADHD, recruit help. So like I'm in charge of my 3 meals and that is it. I don't touch his meals. It is all his responsibility. And we plan the days that he's gonna cook. Those, you know, and the days that I'm gonna cook, those fluctuate sometimes, but for the most part, it's like he's in charge of everything with those. Also, you can totally just start with 1 meal. So go through this process and with 1 meal. That's what I did. Like I started with legitimately 1 meal, cooking 1 meal a week, because it can be really overwhelming, and having a super long list can be super overwhelming, which is also why we split up our grocery list and we take 2 separate carts. It just makes it so much easier. So I'm going to put on some YouTube. Actually, before I do that, okay, I have to figure out how the heck, what to do with these beets. So I normally buy beets like already like boiled and, you know, in the pre-packaged whatever. They didn't have any of those, so I guess I'm feeling really brave. I guess I gotta figure out what to do with this. What do I do with these? I'm gonna Google it, and then I'm gonna put on YouTube to just watch for fun, and I'm gonna spend some time zoning out and getting stuff ready and loving on my future self, because my future self is gonna be very happy when it's much easier to put together these meals. All right. Check out this mess. Look, I'm watching YouTube. So actually it's not that bad because I cleaned up some of it as I was going, but I found out a couple things. Look, that thing exploded in the fridge earlier. So I found out that you can use the greens, the top of the beets. So I'm gonna be using that in the quiche that I'm making, and I'm also gonna use some of these stems, like you cook those kind of with some onions. So I've got that all chopped up, so when it's time to make the quiche, it'll be super easy. This is all the stuff for the pot roast. So we've got celery, potatoes, carrots, and I'm going to clean this out. Last thing I'm gonna do, sorry, this is gross, but I'm gonna clean out my air fryer and try and steam these beets. I totally forgot that beets stain everything. So I'm really hoping that it's not gonna like stain my countertops. Oh look, that came out pretty easy. And my white clothes, so. Hey guys, I wanted to pop in here real quick and make a note on something. So I have been cooking for quite a long time. I think I started in my early 20s, maybe mid 20s, and I'm 31. So I've been cooking for a while. And so some of you may be watching this and thinking, this is not an ADHD friendly meal prep, right? Because you're wanting something super simple if you are maybe a beginner and you are just starting to cook. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a second follow-up and I'm gonna do a meal prep for beginners, because I still do sometimes like go through phases where I'm just like, the last thing I wanna do is cook. All I wanna have to do is like assemble some things and like, you know, keep it really basic. And I also remember being a beginner. So I wanna make sure that there's also options on different levels. If you're watching this and feeling like, wow, this is a lot, and that's a lot of preparation and chopping vegetables and whatnot. That's something I personally really enjoy doing. But something I always say to my clients is, if you don't enjoy doing it, then don't make it part of your routine, right? It's all about finding the things that you enjoy doing. ADHD brains are motivated by interest, and if you're not interested in it, then it's not for you, and that's okay. Okay, just want to make that quick note. One of the main things that I think will be a positive thing to take away from this video is the releasing of perfection. I tried to show a lot of the lack of perfection in my system and how when things come up, I just keep going. So for example, the Notion document, it wasn't linking to my main page, and I was like frustrated with that, and I was like, gosh, I probably just shouldn't do the YouTube video, right? But I decided I'm gonna keep going, right? I'm gonna persevere. And like same thing when the beets, I couldn't find the beets that I know how to cook. I was like, oh, I don't know if I should even do this. It's gonna be too much. I just persevered, right? And when last night I didn't have the energy or feel like doing all of this, I just said, it's okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Being mentally flexible is something that my ADHD makes really difficult. And so that means I have to work on it a lot. And so that's why I wanted to kind of share with you guys, not all the perfect parts, but some of the messier parts too, because it's gonna be messy. Whenever we're learning or doing something new, it's gonna be messy. Even when we've been doing it for a while, it's probably still gonna be messy. Just persevere, keep going, and find the enjoyment in it, right? So like make these things kind of fun, right? Like putting YouTube or a candle, having a fun drink are things that make it more enjoyable for me. So I hope this was helpful for you. I will do a quick little montage after this and show you some of the meals that I made this week. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day. Come back to my YouTube channel sometime, maybe if you want. I don't know, whatever. Bye.